Lenovo's DX8200C software-defined storage appliance powered by Cloudian Hyperstore software provides on-premise object storage that's fully compatible with the S3 object storage protocol. This gives you the ability to deploy hybrid cloud object storage solutions that are compatible not only with cloud storage providers, but also with the wide variety of applications written to the S3 protocol. Today we'll take a look at the DX8200C management interface, and in particular some of the capabilities that I have to manage users and groups. So from my home screen here, again I have various types of tasks that I'll do at the cluster level, at the user and group level, and then various types of tasks I'll perform on the data in the cluster itself. This time let's take a look at users and groups. And here I have the capability to manage multiple groups of users or to manage individual users themselves. The Cloudian software has the capability to support multi-tenancy, which means I can define multiple user groups, each of whose data is segregated from the other groups. And then for each of those user groups, I can define a variety of properties. One in particular here, if I look at these groups that I have defined in my cluster, I can define quality of service, and I can do this either at the group or the individual user level. As I look here at some of these metrics, you'll notice also that if you actually work with any of the cloud object storage providers, the metrics here will look very familiar, very similar to the kinds of metrics that cloud providers use as well. So for example, I can have an overall amount of storage that that group is allowed to store or that user is allowed to store, and I can set limits there. I can have storage quotas in terms of number of objects, and then I can also define quality of service to limit the number of requests per minute or the amount of bytes in and out of my cluster. Again, very similar to the kinds of metrics that I can define at an actual cloud provider level. Another capability that I have is to define rating plans. So I can define those, again, at a user group level, and what those allow me to do is provide internal chargeback if I'm interested in doing that. Again, you can see if I go into edit a rating plan, the metrics here are very similar to the kinds of metrics you'd see from a cloud provider. So storage size rates, and if I want to do this sort of internal chargeback, I can define tiers where I say up to a certain amount of storage, I'm going to bill that at one rate. The next 5 gig here in this example, I'll bill at a lower rate, and then above 6 gig, maybe I go to a much lower rate. And so I have this capability to define these at a storage size level, again, data transfer in, transfer out, different types of requests, and so on. And if I look at an individual user, I have within a group here, I have very similar capabilities to define quality of service and so on at an individual user level as well as at the group level. So there's a quick overview of the capabilities of the DX8200C, of the Cloudian Hyperstore software, particularly focused on management of groups of users and of individual users themselves.